Hi, I'm Jeff, and I will use this video to briefly introduce this fact check project, which is actually a MITM HTTPS proxy with enhanced LLM functions, and we use cross-validation and LLM ensembles. I will introduce this later. So in this video, I will firstly introduce the HTTPS proxy. Secondly, I will introduce the uh, this project that fact check. And thirdly, finally, I will introduce the model code, which is a Python package we created for this project and will use in other projects also in the future. That which is LLM ensembles and that can cross-validate the information. So it can use not only in this fact check. So first, I will introduce this. So first, overall, this project is firstly initialized as a HTTPS proxy. And so we firstly build this proxy.c. And so what's the meaning of a proxy, HTTPS proxy? I think most people have known this, and we can quickly see this. So if I use the parameter that LM as false, then the HTTPS proxy will start, and you can see that I have set the Firefox browser to use this proxy. And this proxy is really quickly, and you can see no matter we choose which page, it is really quickly. So the performance is around like averagely 200, 0.2 seconds. It's really quick. So secondly, let's see the fact check, which is actually this project about that. Let's start this. And we need another file, which is the fake news.py. And this file is actually I'll show it in the Firefox. So after we use this, you can see in the top of the page, there will be this part which called summary and facts check. So the proxy will have all the content of the page, right? And the content will send to the LLM, and which is actually this fake news program, and it also uses code manager. I will introduce this later. This is the Python package of model code. So the fake news, the idea of it is that it will detect whether the page contains any suspicious or false facts. So you can see in the top of this, you can see firstly is the summary, which is the totally summary of this page. So you can see the summary is correct. It's about George Charles. I don't know who is him, but the LM will give the summary. And it finds that some suspicious facts, that some claims about George Charles need further verification. So, and it gives the reason that there is a conflicting report about the years he was knighted. So this is called a suspicious. So this is what this project mainly do, that to detect if there is any suspicious things. So let's try another page. For example, St. Louis. So this is a country, right? And this page is much longer, so it might need a lot more time. And I will introduce this feedback. So if so the result comes, and the summary is correct about St. Louis, and there is no false facts detected. So if there is no false detected, or there is false detected, but the user think this is not correct. For example, if the user is an expert on some like news, on laws, on economics, he can give the feedback. So he can input something like, for example, the fact connected that St. Louis is not a country. So this is just a demo. I don't know where is this country actually, but so you can choose that this is suspicious, like so for example, you can give some your proof that blah blah blah, or you can give a citation that blah blah blah, and you can submit it. After submission, this feedback will stored in the data user feedback, and you can see here is what we actually, there is the time, the URL, and type, and the claim. So this is, in this demo, we store this into the text file, and there is a jury. I will introduce jury, the concept of jury later. There is a jury use these feedbacks to consider the content. So this part, why I store this into this text file, because I think the feedback need check, right? So this part need to be a part of human in the loop. So the people who need to review the feedbacks and to decide whether to put this into the database, you can use a RAG, right? And you can embed in these things into the RAG database. So this is the main idea of the fact check. So you can see when the client and the browser review some website, visit some website, the proxy will send the content to the model code. And at the same time, the proxy will give the page to the client firstly. So you can see that when we click some pages, we can very quickly see the page. And here it said that the AI is analyzing, right? So this is the project, this program doing these things at the same time. So the most important part is this model, we call it the model code. So this is a Python package now, and we have released it into the PY. You can see here, you can install this really easy, really simple, that use pipe install model code. You can use it. So we have input all the details and how you can use this. In the PyPI page, and you can see that in our program, this code manager uses this model, and the configure and the settings are really simple, and you can use it in your program. So let me briefly introduce the idea of model code. So this idea is actually comes from a movie a really classic movie called 12 Angry Men. It's a very old movie that like 70 years ago. So my father even not born. So this model code, the main idea of this model code is to use several independent models. So for example, the case is for example, in our program, the website's content is the case. And what we need to judge is whether there is a false fact or suspicious fact in that page, right? So that is a case. So when you input the case, the prosecutor will firstly check if there is already stored some like case that already exists. For example, someone said the Starship will send ships to Mars now, and the people are ready to colonize the Mars. This is false, right? But the models need to check, and we have stored this fact into the RAG or the feedbacks. So the juries can check these facts. And also, if we have checked this before, then this part will stored in the precedent database, and the prosecutor, this agent, will check it firstly. And if there is already the case exists, and there is a range of valid date. For example, some cases have valid date of like this year. Next year, you cannot use this case. So if the case is already exist and the case is valid, the prosecutor will not send this case into the court. Otherwise, he will send this into the court. And before he sends this into the court, he might make the case into several cases. So it depends on whether you want to do this. For example, if the page has many facts and if you want to improve your precision, you can check different things separately, right? So here, once the case is sent into the court, the claim will be sent to different LLMs. So I call them the jury. This is the jury. And the juries, they use different methods, tools. Some use web search to search the recent news. Some use the initial logics. Some use the RAG. Some use the text document, for example, what I have shown that the feedbacks, right? So they will give the vote independently. And the judge finally will depend on the vote and give a result, which I call it a verdict. And it will give the reason. So we can see, you know, so for example, here, we can see there are 5 results, right? And the 5 results, no one gives suspicious. So their vote are all no objection, and the judge will consider these juries and give a final verdict, which is clean. So the judge will also give his reason. So this is a verdict. This is a verdict that will stored into the precedent database. So this is a whole framework of this model court, and I have all the details are in this GitHub repo, and you can also see this in the PyPI. And if you are interested in this, you can also join to develop this model court. I think this is really good idea that we can do it in different areas, not only the fact check, right? And we can use it into the economics field, financial field, laws, even many other things. So you can come to join this. So this is basically the main idea of the fact check project, and thank you.